Yo, what's up? It's Mr. Roach on another episode of Estimate Like a Boss. Today we're going to learn how to calculate board feet. Board feet's a very unique calculation. It's more used for custom types of wood, like cherry, black walnut, oak, poplar, Brazilian tiger wood. We go on and on and on and on about board feet, all right, and what types of materials are used for, but it's essentially for fancy wood, if that makes sense. All right, so we're going to calculate the board feet of an area. All right, so in this little diagram here, I have just a little piece of wood drawn. All right, now this is important when you're calculating this stuff, because if you go to Home Depot or Lowe's and you were to order or buy a 2 by 4 by 8 or a 2 by 4, this is how you would see the measurement. Alright, so the 2 inches would be the thickness, which is this part of the wood. Okay, the width would be this part of the wood, and the length, which is the longest part of the wood, would be 8. Okay? So I'm going to erase that number though, because a 2 by 4 actually doesn't measure 2 by 4 by 8. We've talked about this before in class. It's super important that we are accurate. Alright? So what we're going to do is, whatever the piece of wood is that we're going to use, we're going to calculate in inches, decimal inches. Alright? The thickness, the width, and the length. And we're going to multiply them together to get a number. Alright? Once we get this number, we're going to divide it by 144. 144 is our magic number. Okay? If you remember, 12 inches multiplied by 12 inches equals 144. There's 144 inches in a square foot. Alright? Not a board feet or a board foot. Alright? So I'm going to do a little basic equation so that you can understand it, and then you're going to take it from there, because you've already mastered how to convert inches into decimal form. Okay? So a traditional 2 by 4 actually measures 1.5 inches. So if we were to calculate that in thickness, alright, so it measures 1.5 inches in thickness. If we were to take 1.5 and convert it to decimal form, it would be 1.50. Okay, 1.5 equals 1.50 inches. Multiply that by the width. All right, even though it's called a 2 by 4, a 2 by 4 measures 3.5 inches in width. All right, so if we convert that to decimal form, it's 3.50 inches. 3.5 inches. Finally, the last part of our equation is a traditional 2 by 4 is 96 inches long, or 8 feet. So 96 inches. So just how we see it here is how we're going to enter it into our calculator. I go to my calculator here. I'm going to clear it out to make sure there's no goofy numbers hanging out. 1.50 multiplied by 3.50 multiplied by 96 equals 504. Alright, now we're going to use our magic number, which is 144. So we're going to divide that by 144, and that gives us 3.5 board feet. Okay? Multiply the thickness in inches by the width in inches by the length in inches. Obtain that number and divide it by 144 to obtain your board feet number. So in this case, it was 1.50 or 1.5 inches thick by 3.50 or 3.5 inches thick by 96 inches in length. Alright, we multiplied all these together. Our sum was 504 We divided it by 144, and that equaled 3.5 board feet. Alright? So when you go to the store and you see a piece of wood, an exotic wood, cherry, oak, mahogany, and you see board feet, that's what it means. And this is how we calculate it. Alright? So I'll see you in class tomorrow. We'll go over a couple worksheets and see who can master this. Have a good one.